All right, so that's the main road coming in. All this dirt road is all. When I purchased this property in May 2003, this was nothing but trees. All of this stuff I put in. So in this video, I just want to talk about kind of how much I spent, why I bought in Alabama, and kind of how long it took me to somewhat develop the property till I got my container house in. So first day, and I'm gonna try to throw some clips in here so you can see what I'm saying. The first day was just breaking ground and creating the road. All right, so this is the initial first day of land clearing. This is the road, and they had the backhoes out ready to rumble. So this was the first day, and I probably started clearing the land maybe 2 weeks after I purchased it. And I just went out, scoped the land, and kind of figured out where I wanted the house. This driveway is probably about 500 feet or so. And yeah, man, was just surveying the land myself and figuring out how I want to do it. And I just told them what I wanted. They brought the machines out and got it going. This is just the initial clearing. Then after they got the road cleared, we went back. I think the road is about 14 feet wide in most spots. It's a little wider in other spots because, like I said, I was always keeping in mind that I was going to have to get a tractor trailer down here. And this is after we brought in the truckloads of red dirt, and got the the red dirt is much better for the drainage and all that, and much compacts much better than the I guess indigenous soil. So that's what we're looking at here. I think this was all done in about 2-3 days. Sorry for the shaky camera. So this is down where the house almost sits at. We cleared it out about this far. Then, like I said, we started seeing the issues with the water sinking. I'll show some footage of that. Then I wanted to get the perk test done to figure out where to put the septic tank at. And then this is, putting the initial load of rocks. I really don't. I think this is 57 stone. I don't know what it is, but these rocks are too big. I really kind of regret getting them. I think it was good at first when you're bringing in a whole bunch of dump trucks in and out, but looking back at it, I think I should have just went with some good old crush and run. But you live and you learn. You spend $1,000, a couple grand on some rocks, you're gonna learn pretty darn quick, my friend. So that's how I had to learn, but got those put in. And yeah, we did the septic, did the perk test, and then from there we figured out where the septic tank was going to go and kind of more where the house was going to sit there after that. So this is the main road just going down. Then after that, we brought some red dirt in. You could kind of see it underneath that rock. This driveway is going to hell. I'm gonna have to really get out here and fix it, or pay somebody to fix it. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm gonna do because it's washing away. But first thing was bringing in the road. I tried to put some videos, drop some footage of that. This is a 4-acre property. And before I bought this property, I was looking. First of all, I think I had my container house built in 2022. So it was just it took like 6 months for them to build it in Miami. I don't recommend doing that. I think it's better just to do it yourself. And after it was built, I was just looking for property everywhere. I'd lived in Atlanta, so prior to, I was really trying to find property in Georgia. But then when I went down to see my container house, I met up with a childhood friend. He was living in Miami at the time, and he was telling me about this company, which they're pretty decent. You could check them out. It's called Be a Man Buy Land. I checked them out and I bought a property. Well, it's not totally paid off yet, but they do owner financing. So I purchased a property in South Central Florida. But then to come to find out after I bought the property, a lot of restrictions. And what are restrictions? So restrictions are, down there, the building code is saying you have to build a house that's minimum 750 or 700 square feet. So that would be 2 containers put together. So I didn't want to do that because I had my single container house. So that would have doubled my cost. I spent $30,000 for my container house for the guy to build it out of Miami. So I would have been looking at easily $70,000 plus the transport. Cost like $2,500 to get it transported to Alabama. So I particularly did not want to spend that much money. So bought the property and found that out thereafter. So the first thing is when you're buying a property is figuring out what the restrictions were. So after I did that catastrophe, I was looking for properties in Georgia, like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Atlanta. Too many restrictions. Most counties in Georgia want you to build a house, at least in central Georgia. When you go down the south, when you get to South Georgia, I figured out there's less restrictions, but I'd be much further away from Atlanta, which I didn't want to do because I still knew I would have to go back up there to work. So they want 500 square feet, which would still be 2 container homes. So that's what brought me to Alabama, because Alabama to me is, land of freedom. Do what the hell you want to do. So that's how I got this property here. So I spent $25,000 for a little less than 4 acres in East Alabama. $25,000. Then I would say this road, doing this clearing in this road probably cost another $10,000 to $15,000. The 3 truckloads of rocks alone was, $3,000. Bringing in all this red dirt, you can see the dirt up there by where my cars are parked. All that red dirt was probably did 12 truckloads at $400 a load. So there you go. That's some numbers for you. So if you're interested in buying land and clearing it and doing all, because before I bought the land, that's how everything looked. Just straight trees. And then I had all of this cleared out, all of this done. That's my 1,000 square foot greenhouse right there. I'm gonna put up, I'll show you in a minute where I want to put that at. So that's kind of what it took. So I bought this property a day after my birthday in May. Bought myself a birthday present. And in October, because my mother was here, is when I had the container house brought out. So I was able to do all the clearing, put in the road. Then let me show you this. I had to put in this culvert over here because every time the guy would come out with his machine, he would end up sinking. He would end up sinking down there. Let me show you this real quick. Every time he would come out, his machine would sink down over here. So it was like this, we didn't know what was going on, but it was like a wet marshland. So then after just taking time to walk the property and check it out, because when you're buying a property that's, not cleared, you got to figure out the lay of the land. So I had to put in, I had to get some riprap here. I had to put in this culvert right there, as you can see, because, when it rains real hard, all the water comes from off the street down in here. So I put this culvert in, and ever since I put the culvert in over here over the road, I haven't had any problems. And that's why I'm planting a lot of my medicinal herbs down in here, because this is like a wetland in the rain season. So it was things I had to learn. And I always like to bring up the price of that culvert. It cost me $800. Still can't believe that, but $800 for a piece of plastic pipe. This 24-inch pipe right here, $800. So things you have to consider when you're buying a land and clearing all the property. So we got that all cleared out. We got that all done. Then I was working on the property. I did the foundation by myself. The foundation probably cost me about $5,000. I did the sonotube foundation. I'll show you right here. I did 18-inch sonotubes. Let me just show you right here so you can see. That's the sonotube right there. So 18-inch sonotube. And you're probably wondering, why is this foundation not sat on? Because I built this container house. Well, I had the container house built, but then in the future, I always knew I would want a double container house, because at some point when I would like to have kids, that would be quite pleasant. So I did a double foundation. So in the future, I could just put it on here. So I put the plate on there, put rebar in there, so I could weld the container down to that. And that's why I have that. So right now my deck is just sitting on the extra foundation part there. So that's why I did that. Just, you know, trying to be prepared for the future and just trying to get the cost down. So that foundation cost me $5,000. Then right here we got the septic. It cost me $8,000 to put in the septic. The leach field is out there. $8,500 for the septic tank. The same guy that cleared the land did the septic. I think he kind of overcharged me, but it is what it is. Maybe he didn't, because he did have to clear out all of this. And I'll throw some clips. Of that. He had to clear out all of that, and that's where I'm going to put my 1,000 square foot greenhouse that I showed you in the driveway. I'm going to bring in some more dirt back here, bring it up so it's not, the leach field is not right underneath it, and bring it up a little bit, and then level it out and put the 1,000 square foot greenhouse and try to get some real growing going on. So that's kind of what it cost me. Like I said, the land was $25,000. Container was $30,000. After the container came, I had to do a lot of upgrades. I put that window in. I put the other window in over there by the right there. I put that one in. This sliding door, patio door was already in, but I probably put an extra, I would say $15,000. So I would say all in all, this container house cost me about $45,000 plus $2,000 to get it shipped, and $2,000 to have the crane, and it was a mess. The crane really cost me more than that, but that's because just the whole thing went awry. Then the solar here cost me about I would say about 12 to 15,000 self-installed with all the wires, you know. Me and my father did that. So that's kind of some basic numbers for you, man. I'll try to throw some footage in here so you can see the before and after to how I got there. But like I said, purchased it in May, and the crane came here about, I think, mid to late October to drop the house. So I was able to just come down here, like, what, you know, I would come do one thing, would do the forms for the foundation one day, and you know, get that all set up, then, you know, maybe stay a night, then spend 2 days doing the forms, then got the concrete, the pump truck out here for the foundation, you know, just doing all the little things so I can get the container pulled in by tractor and trailer. And then they had to bring like some massive ass crane out here. I'll show you the video. So I was just coming down on the weekend or one day out the week in order to get everything prepped to get the house set. So it wasn't like I was working every day for 6 months straight, 5-6 months straight to get this house prepped. So things can go pretty fast, and a lot of this stuff I kind of did by myself, so it went even faster if I had other people with me. So that's kind of the experience I had, man. I'm not gonna talk y'all to death and just keep going on and on. Hopefully you enjoyed the clips in between, and that's kind of how it happened, my friends. So I will see you guys on the next one. See you real soon, player partner.